All right, let's go ahead and get started. First, thank you guys, all of you guys, and we'll talk to you about you guys individually. But I first wanted to thank Nico for allowing the space from Mestizo Studio and making all this happen. We're currently at the John A. Valenzuela Youth Center here in Tucson. I've never been here before. Yesterday was the first place, but apparently this place has been here for 30 years.
Yeah.
So you guys are Tucson locals, so I'm pretty sure you guys have.
Well, I was just with the mayor, Paul Diaz. We're at the city of South Tucson over there with Chief Amado and some of their people. So I'm familiar. I used to teach right here down the street, Wakefield Middle School.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
44th,
wow.
44th and 6th.
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yeah,
You know this one?
I've been here. Yeah.
Dope. Mandy?
Never.
Okay.
No, first time
we
here.
got a mixture.
Yeah,
We
first
got a
time
mixture.
here.
So I wanted to get all of you guys here. Obviously, this podcast in itself is about just interviewing people from different walks of life because we all have a story to share, right? Then we've met through Templo, and now we're like, you guys are doing similar things right now.
Templo is the center of the world.
I agree.
Everybody's
Well
meeting
said.
there, huh?
Can we have that on the reel?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
But-
the new advertisement.
Yeah.
But the goal is that we have a healthy dialogue in things that are going in Tucson. You're both running for District 3 county supervisor. So we want to bring some light on that. And also for people to get to know you guys a little bit more. Okay.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and go right into it. That's all I have. I'm going to get up now and leave. You guys have at it. All right. So we do have some questions. Like we reviewed the podcast and from audiences and also meeting with Mandy, we have some questions in terms of things that, for example, the economy, environment, and all that stuff, which we can get into. But obviously, you're both very experienced and your qualifications are very fitting for this role. But has there been any updates since the last time you guys were on the podcast? I think the last time you were doing this, Edgar Soto, by the way. I think
Yes.
I'm on you right now.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
like you just a quick like who is who.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start there, 'cause
Yeah.
the last one wasn't a visual, so let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Edgar Soto. I'm native Tucsonan, been here for generations. I always tell people I didn't cross any borders. The borders crossed me, right? And so the last 28 years, I've been worked at Pima Community College, the last 7 years as a vice president. But I've had multiple roles at Pima Community College. And, I actually started right down the street from here at Wakefield Middle School as a social studies teacher. Miguel might have been one of my students because he's so young. I don't know. But so that's who I am and decided to throw my hat in this and just try to give back and serve. So,
Yeah, that's good.
yep.
Awesome. I'll introduce myself. So Miguel Cuevas, born and raised, also Tucson, TUSD graduate, University of Arizona graduate, and I have my master's from GCU. Like Edgar, my family has lived in this region. I'm a first generation U.S. citizen, but my great grandmother lived in here before the border actually crossed us, right? As far as myself, I work in the private sector. So part of my motivation of running is being one of the only candidates that is coming from the private sector, like most of District 3 that works in the suburban, rural, and in the urban centers. So I'll be bringing a different perspective.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I will just give a quick. I am Mandy. I'm
Don't
a
make it
personal
quick,
trainer.
Mandy. There's so much
Yeah,
to
right.
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's so
there's
much
layers
to
though, and we can't keep them here all day long. But I am Mandy, a personal trainer and fitness instructor at Templo, and that's how I am definitely probably the odd man out here. I don't really have much political knowledge. I will just put that out there. But I do live in Tucson, and I drive these streets, and I work these places, and I shop at these stores like everybody here.
Right.
And so not in District 3 specifically, but in Tucson. And so I'm happy to be here and be a part of this conversation. It's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
We're happy
You
you're
want to
here.
learn some stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about being I guess in this table, like you say, and I also consider being myself the odd person out.
Yeah.
But the average person.
Yes.
Like the average person may not know what's going on and all that stuff. So I think it's good that we shed light on this.
I think it's
because-
important for the average person because the average person doesn't probably even know where District 3 is. You know, so it's really cool to bring these issues together.
Absolutely.
Come together.
Well, I mean, and that's I just want to honor you for doing this because I think the one thing that we lack sometimes is just civil dialogue, right? And so, having Miguel and I here, just gives us a platform to share ideas, share our uniqueness, and our diverse upbringings, and how what we know, what we've learned, how we can help serve our community. Because I know Miguel was actually on the TUSD board as well, and he has some experience in it. And so, I got into this just because I've realized that in order to get anything done of significance, it has to be done at that legislative or that policy level. We can have all the ideas in the world, but if we don't have the funding and the backing to do some of these things, it's going to be very tough for it to have some traction to get some good things done here.
Well, I think like fostering connection is really what makes people that may agree or disagree with each other just come together and then just have dialogue around that. Because I think that's healthy, because even when you and I, Mandy, are doing podcasts or even off of podcasts, there's things that we don't agree, and we're like, I don't agree with that. But it comes from a place of respect and a place of seeing things from a different perspective. And I think it's good that within your circle you have people like that. They're always going to challenge like the way you think. Because I've been in an environment where everyone just agrees with what I'm saying because I'm the one that calls the shots. But I don't want to be that person. I want to be around people that are there to challenge me, and I hope that you guys are kind of looking for the same, because that's what we do continuously. Like I'll be fully honest, I was nervous in this like visual podcast situation, but I'm like, why not? If the opportunity presents itself and we have the platform and we have great people and great conversations, why not make it happen? So I think we're all kind of like on the same page when it comes to that.
Yeah, thank you, both of you, giving us this shared platform. I do agree, right? In terms of the continuation of this conversation, you'd be surprised, just because things are sensationalized in social media or on the, let's say, national media. Fortunately, what I've experienced in District 3, as we've walked several thousand houses so far, is that people want to engage, want to talk about the local issues that are impacting them. And we're not going to agree with everyone, right? And fortunately, I've had the luxury of working with people from different countries every single day. And I know that they don't agree with me, and we've got to surround ourselves and get a leader in there that has that type of experience that can balance, because this district, as mentioned, goes from Winter Haven all the way down to the border. So we're going to be definitely representing a very vast variety of personalities and neighborhoods.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was going to point out. Like, you're talking about from Winter Haven all the way down to the border. There's so many different.
You just expanded the for me
in
my mind, because I was thinking west by like Speedway and Silverville.
Yeah,
I didn't think it went that far out.
Oh, it does.
And when of course, I'm Southwest girl. Have been since I moved here. So my heart resides on the west side, and specifically the south. However, so I think north, or I think Marana and that area, I'm like, oh, they have it so good up there with those nice roads, But so it really helped to get that visual in my head. You're talking from Winter Haven, which is in town, all the way down to the border, which is a huge, like, talk about two different, totally different, like, worlds as far as even just environment and what you're exposed to, and traffic and everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what's unique about District 3. You have rural areas like Ajo, 3 Points, Arivaca, and then you have places like Winter Haven, Marana. So that's the uniqueness of it, but that's the challenge, because different people from different area have different needs, and our job as county supervisors is not to have our own policy and agenda move forward. It's to listen to constituents and be a voice for them. And so I think what we need to make sure of is what somebody might need in Ajo might be different from somebody in Marana. But just because in Marana or in Winter Haven you've got a lot more people, doesn't mean that in 3 Points there's not some needs there, even though you might just be serving 50 people, right? So that's where you have to support and be a voice for those constituents that might not have the numbers in certain areas but still have some needs.
How populated is District 3?
Well,
how
here's what I know. There's 39,000 Democrats, 37,000 independents, and 31,000 Republicans. So and those are registered voters. Yeah, I mean, so, but there's a lot of
That is
people
a
that aren't.
huge
100,000
amount of people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more people. Those are just registered voters.
Right. Well, just
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
which is breaking it down into that. That's a
Mhm.
lot of
There's a lot
people,
of people.
not to mention the people that aren't registered.
Because when Mandy
Yeah.
and I were talking about it, I thought it was more like more towards west where it's not so much populated,
Mhm.
and that's the way I'm understanding
Right.
it now that we're
Like a
going
bunch of
deep
land.
into conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I-
let's be real. That's what
That's how I
comes
thought-
to mind,
right,
right? When we're
Yeah.
talking about that. So again, we're the average person, and this is what people need to understand about
Exactly.
what you guys are trying to do, where you're coming from, and the changes you're trying to make, where you're trying to make
And
them.
that's one of your biggest drivers that I saw that on your page and also your flyers that you have. You have a big driver for the environment. You're
Sure.
big on driving for the environment. So my thought was like, okay, so it makes sense because it's covering that side.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this district, I think the Tucson Sentinel reported, is the size of Connecticut spatially. And so a part of that is a majority of this district is the Sonoran desert. And so essentially, we've got to continue the conservation plans. I think Democrats in general have been in the forefront of protecting our environment, and we've got to continue that work. And so what that essentially means is that we've got to protect it. We're still a growing city, right? We're a growing urban sprawl. And so what that means is that we've got to balance that, right? We got to protect the desert and make sure that the migrants that are coming through that desert are also in a safe place, but also be able to balance the needs of Tucson, which is making sure there's enough homes, safe roads, and growing that. So yeah, the environment's going to be a huge issue for this election.
So the position that you both are aiming to be in requires a lot. We know that, but how do you effectively lead where you're going to have that many amount of people under you, and let's say they don't all necessarily agree with your viewpoints?
Well, I mean, for me, what I see, and so one of the things I do at Pima is I teach a class on Friday mornings. It's a college readiness class. So I talk to the students, and these are students that are mostly just starting, and I want to try to find out like why are they going to Pima? What's their purpose? What's their passion? And what I've learned is that most people, in my experience, they want a good job. They want a good job with a livable wage so they can live a life of meaning and purpose. So positive economic impact, responsible development is important. You know, one of the things I attended the other day for the Sun Corridor was there were site selectors. And these site selectors are people that come from different parts of the country to decide if Southern Arizona is a place they want to put their business or industry, right? So they brought in Caterpillar, Amazon, some of these places.
Right.
And so one of the things that they talk about is how is the city getting along with the county? How's the county getting along with the authorities? Now, this is important because 65% of our graduates from the University of Arizona leave Tucson, right? Leave Southern Arizona because there's not good paying jobs here. So how can we balance, being, aware of the environment with also having, positive growth?
Right.
And that's the challenge, because you want responsible tourism. You want responsible development. You don't want somebody to come here and pillage our communities and our land and then leave.
Right.
An example of someone doing this in a responsible way is a gentleman named Frank Knott, who just got the approval to build the Mosaic Quarters. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like it's a place where they have indoor field houses. They have hockey rinks. They have a place where not just the community, but people from outside of Southern Arizona can come for tournaments, which means economic impact. So people will have good jobs.
Would this be within District 3, Edgar?
No, it's not within District 3. But the one thing we got to understand with District 3, it's going to be the swing vote, I think. It's going to be the place where a lot of these decisions are made. And right now, these dominoes are set up. We're one of 3 cities that are bidding on the World Baseball Classic qualifier. So that
I
means,
remember you saying that.
yeah, so like China, Germany, Colombia, and Brazil, we're trying to get them so that they have that event here, because what's that going to do? That's going to bring outside money to our community. We're talking to the Diamondbacks to hopefully play some games here to bring that economic impact, because we all felt the loss when spring training left, and our film credits. So, working on projects and things to bring these events, these projects here so people have good jobs. So one of the challenges we have, like in film, is we don't have a skilled workforce in that area that can work on grip trucks, that can work on, on these film projects. So that's part of it, is training. So workforce development in Pima Community College is a big part of that, because these businesses that come in, they want to make sure we have the skilled workforce that are going to be able to, serve in these positions.
Now, as a local, to me, what I hear is more congestion and traffic, which I love that you guys are wanting to be responsible about this and, preserve. And, but I drive the roads every day trying to get where I'm trying to go, as well as you both probably do. And it's already just one of the biggest, it's
felt
frustrating.
busier
Yes.
recently.
And it's so frustrating on top of, I mean, it takes so long to get from west side to east side. It's like going to a whole nother town, a whole nother city. You know what I mean? I could get to Phoenix faster, honestly. I mean, I get to Casa Grande, faster than going from my southwest side to the east side. And that is mostly due to traffic, but also the condition of the roads. It is lack of freeways. These are all things that come into play for a local on a daily basis. I love that you guys are taking it, to that next level and wanting to bring those things in. But where does that leave us locals in those regards?
Yeah. So
With adding more.
Yeah. I mean, we do want the jobs. We all want the jobs. We all, But with
wanna
that
stay in
comes,
Tucson.
with change comes challenge. And so how do we deal with that?
yeah, I think the comparison that you made, right, which is it's quicker to go to Phoenix, or in Phoenix in general was built for growth, right? Where Tucson wants to stay as the old Pueblo. And that's what I've learned in my lifetime living here. And that's what makes Tucson unique, right? And so essentially what it will take is a couple of things. One, it's going to be multi-government